Hello everyone, and welcome to optimizing your GHS compliance using SDS Pro versus on your own. My name is Mark Miller, and I'll be here walking you through a tour overview of the application. And we'll start off with just a few slideshows to get started, and then we'll actually move into the SDS Pro arena, the application. I've been working here at SDS Pro since 1997, so just a little while, and I've worked with quite a few different companies and through implementations, and I've seen and heard a lot about the SDS market and the challenges that you as either in safety, in some cases could even be human resources, depending on your field that you're gifted this opportunity to manage your company's SDSs. So we'll just kind of go over here the agenda. OSHA HCS 2012, that has, I won't say it has came and it's still here, it's never going to go. That was a big movement over a 3-year period, and I don't really spend a lot of time on that through this webinar, but certainly the effects and the legislation administered by that changes are shown in the demo and in the application, and really our daily patterns with managing SDSs. Before SDSs, I always like to say that the problems are very similar for companies as far as managing them. There's one exception, which we'll point out. The high-level overview. So during this webinar, I just want everyone to relax. It's not a training session, so if you're looking for a training session and you maybe you're a current client that either stepped in for a refresher or a quick overview, this is not going to be so much a training session as it is a kind of an overview look of SDS Pro to give you an idea of the capabilities of the system, and you may see something new in the application as well. But just to kind of set expectations, I'm not going to be spending a lot of time showing you some back-end stuff as far as how-tos, but certainly may see something that piques your interest. As far as getting services and what we offer, we have a host of different products and services. We have either a software hosted application that we host in the cloud, and that's a lease. That's on an annual lease program. We also have a software that you can buy internally and host it yourself. Obviously, that's more of a one-time cost with lower annual fees for the software maintenance agreement. So again, that's a decision that a lot of times IT has a fairly big input in. We offer initial data populations. Some companies may just want to have a nudge to get them started with their 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 SDSs, or 500 or 100, whatever it is. We can do a one-time data population to get you started, and then you can manage it from that point on. Or you may want to have us just manage it every year. We can make sure you have the most up-to-date SDSs. It's all documented for your OSHA compliance, for your due diligence. We document every touch, every call, every left message, every email, every touch with a manufacturer. We document, and you can run that report to see. In some cases, we'll touch it, 7, 8, 9 times to get the SDS. And more importantly, if we don't get the SDS, we let you know the reason why. Teleconference or on-site training, so you can choose if it's a big group. On-site training is a still effective way, but certainly we can train a large conference as well through our internet capabilities or the teleconference training. On-site chemical inventory, this is a a big arena for us in the last, I'd say, 5 to 7 years. This has grown a lot for our services department, and we go on site to companies, go through their buildings, open their flammable cabinets, open their drawers, and take a inventory of their chemicals. We offer different, even within that, we'll offer different levels of inventory. And if you just want us to find out what you have so you can get an SDS for it, that's one level. We also do tier 2 level inventory assessments where we'll come on site, get all the information for your inventory, such as quantity and size of container, type of container, ambient information, stuff like that. So you have all the information that you need for your tier 2 record. We sell a mobile data collector, and that mobile data collector is the same unit, same device, same software that we use when we come on site. So if you have your own resources and want help with your inventory, then you can get a mobile data collector, what we term as the MDC. The MDC allows you to collect data easily by scanning, setting up locations similar to mirroring your setup on your application as far as your locations, and then going through each location, collecting inventory information. If the product's already in there, the barcode picks that up. You just hit edit save. If it's a new product, you would enter the new product, and the next time it comes in, it will be available. And then you sync that back to the server, updates your inventory, and it's a pretty slick system. So that's been in development since 2006-ish, somewhere in there. So it's a great tool to help you keep your SDSs inventory information current. Data conversions and integrations with ERP type systems. So whether it's a spreadsheet or you're working with JD Edwards or SAP or some other type of system, we can implement SDSpro and work with those terms through our integration and engineering department. SDS authoring regulatory services. We author SDSs in 40 plus countries and regulations around the world. This is a service. If you're authoring just a few in the US, I say just a few, we are also in the software, there is a North American or a US authoring template for GHS, so you can author your own SDSs. If it's if you're shipping out of country, which to include Mexico or Canada, we offer a service to get those SDSs up to date for you. Wanted to give you just again a brief idea. Everyone has a little different scenario, and hence all the different products and services. So just wanted to give you an idea of what we offer. Now what we're going to go through now is just kind of a checklist, and then get on to the application. So use the following checklist to help you comply with the final rule. The final rule referring to the new GHS legislation. This was just as true really before with the 1910-1200 versus before the GHS. Really the only real way to get started, I say real way, I don't want to downplay what you currently do, but to get an accurate inventory, you need to audit your chemicals, conduct a physical audit of all your chemicals in the workplace. So a lot of times, talking with customers, they inherited a job and they come into a job with a binder that's sitting there, and or an inventory list, and that inventory list is probably passed on from another go-getter at some point. But generally, the SDSs that are, or the MSDSs and SDSs that are in the binder are does not match the inventory that's out in your workplace. And so you don't want to spend a lot of time updating products that really need to be archived versus you're chasing down the manufacturer for a new SDS or making your book thicker. So audit your chemicals, conduct a physical audit of all your chemicals in the workplace. Step 1. Step 2, while you're out there, again, I do this for customers as well. As you're out there going through the cabinets, you run across items that do not have any workplace labels. So as you do your audit, Also conduct an audit on your workplace labels. Make sure that your containers are labeled. Then you obtain the updated supplier SDS sheet. Contact the manufacturer for an updated SDS for each chemical in the workplace. Distribute your SDSs. Ensure your chemical users have free, unlimited access to the manufacturer's SDSs. And that's what we're going to go through here in a second as far as how to. Train your employees. Update your existing hazardous chemical training program to include GHS data elements and format of the SDSs. Of course, that's ingrained in our minds at this point. Common SDS problems. SDSs pile up. You go on vacation, you come back, there's a new pile on your desk, or you just have a pile on your desk and you were there. So one of the two. Bad quality faxes and paper. That's still certainly a challenge that we face. Coffee stains that have been faxed, especially interfaxes. Missing SDSs. Somebody goes and pulls a binder and pulls out the SDS for a product and doesn't return it, or returns it to a different location in the binder. File redundancies. If you have multiple locations and WD-40 updates their SDS, you tendency is you're going to photocopy that and replace it in the binders. A lot of redundancies going on and economies of scale with a database, using a database. Outdated SDSs. So just because you have an SDS sheet doesn't mean that you're done. So yeah, that was a big goal, getting the SDS sheet. Manufacturers were late in some cases. The 80-20 rule. Most of the manufacturers waited till the last month of the last year to convert from MSDSs to SDSs. But you still have to have the most current SDS, certainly that comes with the shipment. But you want to make sure that you have the most up-to-date product. And so outdated SDS is still a concern, as it was before. Different training makes formats impossible. That is an old one that should have a strike through it. So different formats make training impossible. I'd say impossible. With the old section, there was 9 section. There could be a 12 section, could be 14, could be 16. There was very little information that was required, and certainly the section was negotiable. Again, making training nearly impossible consistency-wise. That's been changed with the new 16-section format. At least that part of it's consistent. Overall, it leads to time-consuming and high costs. So again, you add all these problems up, these challenges up, and you're dealing with certainly a challenge. Okay, the demo objectives here. We're just going to go through our interface, update an SDS, and show you some features. And along the way, if you see something, go ahead and write it down, and we'll be sure to I'll be sure to circle the wagon if you want me to go back to it during the question. So I'm just going to go ahead and poke over here to the question section just to make sure everyone hears me at least. It looks like I have no complaints there, so that's awesome. And if I'm looks like the speed's good. Sometimes my voice goes ahead of the screen, so I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. We look good, so that's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to actually flip over to the SDSpro application. This screen that you see here is what we term the employee interface. This screen allows your employees to come search, view, and print their SDSs, also their secondary container labels, and in some cases can even help manage specific locations inventory. So these locations here we have set up ahead of time in the demo. As we go through the demo, as far as the application, when we start doing the actual work, to populate the database, we'll come back and create a new location just so you see how easy it is to add and move those around. If I come here across the top, this is a simple search screen, product name synonyms it defaults to. You can also search cast number, manufacturer name, and product name sounds like. So first we'll just work across the top here, product name. If I type in here WD for WD-40, click search, it comes back with the search results for WD, anything that begins with WD. It flags whether or not it's a GHS document here, so the employees know that that is a GHS document. That's something that's flagged when the data entry is done. At this point, it assumes that the document is a SDS, but as you know, you probably still have a mix of MSDSs in your database, and that's perfectly normal, and that's going to be the case for a while until those are phased out and move out of your inventory. So if I want to click on the link here, this launches the, again, manufacturer SDS. This is important. We don't have you go to a third party to pull these from. These are going right to the manufacturer, linked right to the manufacturer, and you're getting a small compressed PDF file. It's not scanned. It's actually downloaded right from the manufacturer into your website. Certainly, a scan is necessary sometimes, but more and more, the end result is usually just a PDF or HTML from the manufacturer. So that's the search result for WD-40. Again, just kind of going through the bottom here. If you click on locations, excuse me, you can actually see the other locations that WD-40 is being used at, which is a pretty handy tool. And if you click on the details tab, this just simply shows up kind of an overview of the data here. It pulls data. You'll see there's a SDS in English. We have a Spanish MSDS and a French MSDS. So there's multiple languages associated with this product. And again, signal words, hazard categories, classifications, precautionary statements, and so forth. So again, this is just kind of an overview of that product. And then the label information here, if it's a workplace label, you can use Avery pre-stock labels. There we go, create label. This is a 6-up label. These labels, if you use them often, you can actually just store the PDF. A lot of companies, if it's like a secondary transfer station, you can just print off multiple documents. There we go. And so this is a workplace label. Again, you can print these off onesie twosies, or you can just print these off in bunches and put them in the storage location where you need them, and it's available. You can just peel off and slap on the container. You can also search by cast number. So if you're indexed, if you have the information indexed, you can just type in the particular cast number. I didn't get it here, but if I type in this product, this code right here, I'll just cut and paste. And I got to get rid of these spaces here. Should have these memorized. So I click search, and it brings back WD-40 that is ingredient or cast number is in. If it was in multiple products, it would pick up all the different products for that particular ingredient, which is a pretty powerful feature. If you were to try to do that and you had a manual system, it would be very time consuming with a spreadsheet and a lot of work. So this is right at the fingertips. You can pull this information back very quickly. Manufacturer name, this is a search that's used, for instance, with Henkel Loctite. They have a lot of products that begin with numbers. And so you could just come here, if you forget the number, just type in Henkel. It lists all the Henkel Corporation products. And then when you're here, you go, oh, that's right, it's 567 versus 565 or something like that. So again, clicking on the link, it pulls back the SDS sheet right there. At this point, again, assuming the browser's pretty standard at your company, at this point, you can either send it to yourself via email, You can print it off, save it locally, whatever you want to do to it. The nice thing is, as a manager, your employee can't go pull this out of the data. They can't go move this out of the database or lose it. It's available at that location until an administrator removes it. My favorite search here is product name sounds like. So again, that's checked over here, and you can spell acetone, completely botch it up, and I'm going to keep it G-rated here and just use one S, but you can really botch it up and still get the acetone as long as it sounds like it's phonetic search capabilities. So you still get acetone, even though again it's totally spelled wrong, but it sounds like acetone. In some cases, you may get multiple products back as well, but again, you'll be able to pick the one out with the proper word association. If I type a product and it's not in the system, you're going to get a result that says no products found. And importantly here, this if emergency contract, chemtrack or poison control, this is your emergency script right here. This can be interchangeable, so you can edit this in the system. You can put your pager number, your safety page number, your local poison control, your whatever number you want to use, you can put there as far as if it's emergency. Request an SDS. So this, if it's not an emergency, in this case here, let's say Johnny went out to Ace Hardware, bought a can of spray paint for a project he was urgently working on, goes back in the engineering department, gets the project done, puts it in the flammable cabinet, marks it off his task sheet, moves on to another project. Well, Johnny didn't get the SDS sheet. He was in a hurry, didn't maybe follow protocol. I don't know if that happens at your company or not, but that seems to happen a lot. Other companies didn't follow protocol and didn't get the SDS sheet, didn't notify the administrator that there's a new SDS, but did get his job done and put it back in the flammable cabinet. A couple months later, Frank comes along. Frank's using it on a similar project, gets some overspray on his finger, and starts to notice quickly a red rash on his finger, and so thinks, well, maybe I should see what the PPEs are and so forth, and what's maybe causing this, first aid. So Frank comes and looks for it, doesn't find it, just like happened to me. Typed it in, it's not there. So Frank doesn't want to call up his boss or his administrator at this point. It's not an emergency, but he does want to let the person know that he needs an SDS sheet for it. So, or he has an SDS sheet for it even and can submit it. So Frank can just come in here, and I'm just going to put in my name. Well, I'm going to use Frank. I can put Frank's name in there. Frank Flintstone. How's that sound? Almost like Fred. Manufacturer, oh, this is the product name. Okay, well, I'm stepping ahead here. Gold is the product name, and Hill is the manufacturer. Manufacturer phone number, I'm not going to put any of this. You can put stock number down. So in this case, Frank went ahead and got the SDS sheet. And Frank can actually browse, attach the SDS sheet to the, I'm just going to grab a new vendor form here, just a PDF, just so it's there. And date needed. I'm not sure if this is a, there we go, looks like you can put in ASAP. Requester information, this is required, Fred, and I'll just put my email in here. You can put department location if you want, but that's all the required fields right there, what we've entered. This wasn't required, and that wasn't required. So we entered a few extra non-required fields. The asterisk is required. And this is submitted, and when this is submitted, the administrator in the system, which could be us or could be you, gets an email saying, please check SDSpro, there's been a new product submitted, and we'll go check that in a minute. So that feature was requested a long time ago by one of our clients, and really our whole application is a sum total of client requests over the years, and the years seem to be stacking up. So there's a lot of cool features in there in the system. This was one that was requested early on, and this still works very well today. What it does is it helps your SDS manager, your person in charge, whether it's for your company or maybe you have help at every location, it gives them a tool to help encourage and foster, help keeping their new products added to the inventory, because that seems to be one of the biggest challenges that companies have out there, is getting new products added to the system. If you knew that there was new products, then your job would be a lot easier. But a lot of times you may not know. And who else besides your employees out there running around on the plant floors and facilities to help you out? So this is a way that they can help submit products, either attach an SDS, or maybe they don't even attach a SDS. Maybe they just give you the name, the product, and maybe a part number, and they submit that. And that allows you at least to be notified that there's a new product, to set up another process, for adding the product, or at least finding out maybe you want to get rid of it. But the bottom line is you know where it's at. So a lot of companies have had a great programs that they offer through their safety awards. For instance, if you offer some type of safety certificate or a lunch with the boss or safety bonus, whoever submits the most products that you have that's not currently in the system, gets some type of a safety award, whatever that may be. That helps foster the use of the system. You paid money for the system, whatever system you're going to use, even if it's just a binder system that you did manually, you still have a lot of money in that when you start adding your time and effort up to that. So, it contributes to the whole safety environment. And, you're not, hopefully you don't have people going out and buying products just to submit. That just doesn't seem to happen, but, it's a real good idea. Works well in most companies. Some companies it won't work in. So depending on your safety, trying to find the right word there, but your safety culture at your company. So again, nice feature, but again, it does require human element side of it. Okay, I'm rambling here. Let's move on. The location part here. So if you didn't type in anything, let's say you just knew you're in main plant LA and you want to start seeing SDSs, so you can drill down. So here we have main plant LA. We have main plant LA set up by multiple locations, warehouse A, B, and C for simplicity. And you'll notice here that as you drill down, the information follows. So here's all the SDSs at main plant LA, and then at warehouse A, there's even just a smaller subset of that. And at warehouse A, you have building 1. And so here you have three products here. So these, way you can drill down, and then once you drill down, you can go, you know what, here's a product I'm looking for, or there's a product missing. We have WD-40 here. Your administrator can assign, depending on your product that you have with SDSpro, but in a lot of our products with Enterprise LE and above, or our cloud systems, you can actually assign locations, inventory specialists to help you with edit purposes. So in this case here, you have a WD-40, so I can just come in here, and I've been assigned the inventory rights at this location. I can come in here through the browser, log in, and it sets me up in a inventory mode. Now I can't delete out of the database. I can remove from my inventory, which essentially puts an end date, but I'm not deleting. I can't delete anything. I can add to my system. Again, the whole idea here is to help. So I can click here, add new, search for WD-40, see it, and go, oh, it's already in the system. Perfect. Just select it here, add selected items. Okay, that's simple. If it wasn't there, you can go through and submit a request just like you did before. We did before. Once your location's done with an audit, you can click Mark Reviewed, and that stamps it that it was done today. You can save an XLS worksheet. You can print a view inventory worksheet. So if I want to view a worksheet, PDF, there it is there. You can still use paper and pencil, print this off, go out, track the number, size, and container if that's what you're looking to do. Or if you want to do a inventory report, for building 1, it's right there, PDF right there. So there's XML as well, depending on whether you want to do it in a spreadsheet or, again, this is basic methods, but it's still very effective as far as getting things done. I've used paper and pencil for inventory before I've had to, so it works. It's time consuming, and it's in a lot of cases double entry, but certainly for smaller locations, something that you can consider, especially using the Web Inventory Manager. So that we just added WD-40, so now employees, if I come back and refresh this page, you'll see here that WD-40 has been added to the location. And as far as the location stuff here, all this types and containers and stuff like this, this is for Tier 2 reporting. Again, you're probably not going to use this. I say probably. It's there for a reason, so for companies to use it. But a lot of cases, you just want to know if the SDS is there. So you can turn a lot of these fields. In fact, you can turn all these fields off if you don't want to get your employees confused or overwhelmed. If you're just wanting to know if you want an SDS sheet, then you just come in and turn that off, and so that it just pulls up here. And if you want to archive one, same thing. You're not using this product anymore, highlight it, remove items. It removes that from inventory. Again, I'm going to mark that reviewed, and I'm done. Okay, so that's how the Web Inventory Manager works. And I think that's pretty much, there's a few more features here on the search engine, but I like to spend a little bit more time on here than maybe than it looks like. It's pretty self-explanatory. It is, but this is what all your employees see. This is really the face of the system, the application from an online or a employee interface search. So I want to make sure that this is, a lot of the different features on here are covered, although it is very self-explanatory as you start pushing around in the demo and stuff like that. So there gives you kind of idea of the different tools and features of the search interface. Now I'm going to move over to the employee interface, where we're going to go add an SDS sheet and actually show you. This was kind of the end result with the application. So now we're actually going to go show you how to make that happen and enter some data and show you how easy that is, and how easy it is to get updates and get some reports, print a binder, stuff like that. We probably have about 10 minutes, 12 minutes left. I'm going to be wrapping up, so I'm going to have to move along fairly quickly, but I can do that. So I'm going to flip over here to the SDSpro application. This is the what we call the dashboard. Kind of lets you see the health of the system. You don't want to see a lot of red, because red means your MSDSs, probably called MSDSs if they're over 5 years old, are over 5 years old. So you can view and quickly see right there. Okay, there they are. Again, that's going to be okay. There's going to be cases where you still have MSDSs, but those are going to phase out. You want your red area to be the smaller area within your system. Okay, you see your last products here, last recently added products, and now we're just going to basically go to companies. I'm going to add a product. So first thing I'm going to do is create a location. So come here to locations, and the first thing you want to do is maybe add your inventory location. So I can come here. I'm in Anchorage, Alaska, so I'm going to add Anchorage. And yes, we had a fairly good size earthquake. It woke me up about midnight. There was a 8.0 that hit out south of Kodiak. And so I woke up from feeling it. My dog barked, and house was shaking, and then my cell phone went off with a tsunami warning. So I accomplished waking up, so that was half the alert, but I guess they called off the tsunami warning, which was awesome. So big quake. So Anchorage. And then once you create that location, you can highlight it and create sub-locations. So here I may want to go Anchorage Building 5. So now you have a secondary location within Anchorage. Just like here you have admin, assembly, stuff within corporate. Anchorage, you can have those as well. I actually create the barcode location, so you can barcode your room as well, so you can barcode when you walk in for your inventory. But here, building 5. And anyway, so at this point, you're now that's all set up. So that's one of the first things you'll do is to set up your location scheme. And now you're just simply going to add and drop SDSs. You can also do, if you right-click mouse on any of these locations, let's say main plan LA, you can export XML exports, ingredient exports, employee for workflow stuff, archive. So you can right-click mouse, and that's a really cool, it's with exports into Excel, and it's got a pivot table. You can kind of create your own reports, and it's a pretty handy little tool there, just a tidbit and to know about. So that's done. So now I want to go add a product to that location. So I'm just going to come here to go to companies, come down here to let's see, let's go pick on a product. Where's WD-40? Double click. I'm going to launch. I already have the URL saved here for WD-40. It's the same as a bookmark, but the nice thing here is you can, amongst your company, you can just put it in one location. Unlike your browser, you probably don't share your favorites. So this allows you to share to have all the locations in the system. And then you could just simply come here, and I want to add 3-in-1 oil, and I feel like maybe some RV sealants on the docket today. So I'm going to click on this lube. Okay, so this is the product right here, 3-in-1 oil. I'm just going to copy and paste what I can, and then put silicone. Okay, so first thing I need to do is copy the URL. So you come up here, you copy the URL, Control C, or I can do edit copy. Or another thing you can do is if you don't want to open up, to save you a little time, if you just come here, right-click mouse, you can copy link location, or I believe in Explorer, it's copy shortcut. And so that copies the URL to the clipboard. So now I'm going to come into SDSpro, and I'm going to launch the launch wizard. And I want to do what we call the GHS wizard. Again, you can have multiple depending if your company has different locations. Each location may have different parameters for data entry. Although there may be a minimum for your company, there may be a few that want to add some niceties that they want for their location. So the reason for different wizards is because different companies, some bigger companies want to have more flexibility within their company to have something unique. So what the wizard does is guide you through the data entry process. Like any database, garbage in, garbage out, GIGO, however you pronounce it, it's basically, the database is only as good as the information that you put into it. And that's just as true here with SDSpro as with any other system. The first thing here we're going to do is we're going to acquire the document. Acquire, have you checked the database for an existing SDS? So I can do that like just coming out here to the browser, and I can type in, 3-in-1, or I could just put the number 3 just to be sure, see if it picks up anything. Picks up any product that has a 3 in either the synonym or the name, and I'm not getting any words begins with 3. So I'm going to say no, it's not in the system. You can also check it through the administrative interface as well. So I'm going to come back into the system. Yes, I've checked it. How do you want to import it? I want to import it from the internet. You can do hard disk or scan as well. Next, let it paste. Downloads the SDS into the system. Notice right there, it's got the URL, and I'm going to click View. This lets me view the document, and October 3rd, 2016 is the date. So October 3rd, so that's going to be 10/03/16. And you notice the GHS is already check marked, so I'm going to hit Next. And this here is asking for the name of the product, so I'm just going to come here and do a little cutting and pasting because I'm probably tired. I'm faster I'm not a fast typer, so I'm just going to cut and paste when I can. Okay, next. Synonyms. You can call this, you know, a part number 1, 2, 3, 4. Save it. You can call this. It's called slide out grease, but maybe you want to call this grease assembly. Whatever you want to call it. And I said, whatever you want to call me, it's fine. So you've just added those synonyms to that product search. So if you want to type in anything there to so that your employees will get that SDS back. And I've seen a lot of times on SDSs, sometimes they get lazy from the manufacturer, and they'll actually have on there, you know, black spray paint, and they'll abbreviate black, BLK, spray, SPY, paint, PNT. And so that's the product name. But you know, that's, you look at the label, you look on the can, and it says, you know, inverted marking paint, black, part number here, and so, you know, the synonyms come in handy, not just for part numbers, but for actual names as well, because sometimes, again, the manufacturers will, Fox Industries, you know, they'll abbreviate the heck out of things. So GHS stuff for the label, I'm just going to kind of walk through one real quick here. This isn't going to be, you know, like I said, not really a training session, but can certainly walk through, you know, setting these up. Category, I think it said, was it danger? Yep. And then, you know, flammable, aerosol. You know, category, I think it said 1. Add. And again, you would just keep going down the list there. Flab, your gas under pressure, since I already did that one there. And just keep adding your gas under pressure, compressed gas. And as soon as you do that, you notice it automatically flags. I didn't do anything to the pictograms. It automatically brings in your hazard statements, precautionary statements. You do want to check these precautionary statements and hazard statements against the actual SDS sheet. In some cases, it may be duplicates. Again, the manufacturer, even though it's GHS that's supposed to be harmonized, it's it's a little more complicated than that. So you want to make sure that your information here matches the phrase on the SDS. And so sometimes it may be duplicate or a slight change. You can either edit or you can actually hide, if you need to, a similar product or phrase. Okay. So that's done there. So I'm going to go next. Again, I'm kind of showing here the long view of data population here. And I'm talking the way through it, but I just want to show you, you know, the concept of getting a product into the system the right way. And again, talking my way through it may jar some questions for you as well. So put the manufacturer information. The manufacturer was already there, so if it's not there, you enter the information once and it's done. So that you don't have to enter that information again. The next time you have a product, you just select it like I did. If it's not there again the first time, you enter it. Here, ingredient name, this is where you enter the weight percent information. So again, come down here to section 2. I'm just going to put in, cut and paste this information, and that's the ingredient name. That's not going to work. Coming down here, but it will there. And I hit tab. It's already in the system it already pulls up the name, so I didn't have to type in the name. So that's because it's already in the ingredient table. We do have a what we call a master chemical index, which has lots of these cast number and regulatory information already in there. So if you do tier 2 reporting, I would ask us about the MCI data, master chemical index. It will save you a lot of time and effort. If you're not entering cast number information, then guess what? You wouldn't have this on your wizard. This wizard is something you build And so depending on your needs, so this wizard, if you're not doing ingredient and you don't want to create labels, then you don't have that on your ticket here. Next, inventory location. So we can add this to building 5. That's the one we just did, and I can add it to building 2 and 3, and up here in Ontario, Canada. So you can assign all that information there, and then hit done. This lets you review it, click accept, and now you're off to the races. Once you have this done here, the real important thing here is repetitiveness. The internet, if you get it off the hard disk, you could just go grab it like I did that, a PDF file off your desktop, or you could scan it in. Once you acquire the document, once you acquire it from the internet, hard disk, scanning, then everything to the right is the same. So the real key is, how do you get it? Okay, and I just showed you from the internet, but it's going to be a hodgepodge of different methods to get your database done, and that's going to be almost a certainty. Okay, so that's how you add an SDS. So again, there's probably tons of questions, or the different components that you'll have depending on your needs, but that's just a quick overview. Want to go into how to create a binder. So a binder is still a necessity in some cases if you're in construction, but in some cases it's a nice backup. And so here's how you do it. It's real simple. You click on the location that you want to do a binder for. In this case here, I'm going to say I want a binder for all of Main Plant LA. In fact, I'm going to give this to the local fire department. Okay, so I'm going to click a whole master binder, hit next, and you can, if you want to do synonyms, you can actually put in synonyms if you want it to print your GHS label. You can actually have it, or the symbol, you can have it print the symbol. You can have it include the synonym or not. It's handy with the synonym. Just going to browse it to my desktop and say create binder. Okay, so that's going to go to work. It's going to take just a second to build that binder. I did add some extra features to it, so once it gets going there, you'll see it across the screen. So right now it's generating a binder. The nice thing, this binder is going to be, all the information is going to be contained within one folder. That one folder you can actually copy to a USB drive or a thumb drive to your hard drive, and now that's to be available. So I can say launch binder. And so here it shows the table of contents. You can either go down and go to S's just by clicking. If there's an S, it has a hyperlink, so you can go right down to S, click on soda lime. Brings back the SDS for soda lime right there. Again, at the top, there's a table of contents. You can also see synonym index. So here's an index here that you could print out and has all the synonyms over here to the right, which is kind of cool. And there's a globe by it, again, GHS. If it's a GHS document, it's flagged right there. You can print binder. If you print the binder, it's going to print hard copies. So you can load your printer up with pre-drilled paper, 3-hole paper, and say print, and let it go. Again, this folder is just going to show you my messy desktop here, but this folder is right here. Everything that you need to copy is just copy this folder here to a USB drive, and it contains all the information. Again, you copy that, give it to your local fire department, and now all they have to do is click on that binder, and it's going to launch the application, the HTML application. So all they have to do is throw the USB in their computer, and they have access to all your SDSs. Again, you could have that at home as a backup, your security department, wherever you want this. Again, it's a backup. Some folks use it as primary as well if they're still using paper copies. So again, that's just a feature there. Cool, slick feature. And the most important part about the feature is it works well. And it's a little, I mean, behind the scenes, it's a lot more complicated than it appears. Dashboard, a lot of different things there. Reports, you can do product reports, agent reports, tons of different reports, inventory reports. Again, help QC stuff, chemical, location reports, all types of fun stuff. With this is your chemical ingredients, so you can actually see, maybe you want to see butane, and you can see all the different products that butane is used in, and then you can actually see the locations as well. So maybe there's a chemical that you want to get out of your system because of corporate mandates, for health reasons. You can actually just go here and pull the benzene and go, oh, there's it is. Well, we're not going to. Okay, we still need jet fuel, but we don't need this acetone. Where's that acetone being used? Okay, here are the locations. So that's that feature there. I want to show you the update from internet routine. As part of the maintenance, you can allow SDSpro to help you maintain the system. And so here we have a bunch of documents. These are all your SDSs that you have in the system. And notice off here to the right, it's the URL. And then you may see duplicates here for product names. They're not really duplicates. What that is, as I showed you before, you can have multiple languages, multiple documents assigned to that same product record. So here it could be Loctite 567, could be for English, French, and Spanish, or German, whatever language you have in there. So it can help. So that's just the URL address. So you can just sit here and click Update from Internet right here, and it's going to spider out and update all 42 documents. If there's a change to the URL, it's going to throw it over into the pending documents for you to review. If there's a broken link, it's going to say broken link, please check. If it's not changed, it's going to say status not changed, basically. So here, just to save us some time, I'm just going to click on updated documents. These are documents that have already been updated, already been ran in the system. So here, this example here is Hinkle Loctite. So you're going to launch the original. So I'm going to launch the original down here. This is the active SDS that your employees see. So it's actually July 8th, 2015. So by a show of virtual hands, yeah, I mean, I feel this is, semi-current. It's 2.5 years old. It's certainly not one of those red one, out-of-date ones, but it's fairly new. Let's see what the system has. If I say launch, this launches the pending document for you to review. And this is actually about a year and 3 months newer. So 11/10/2016. So all you have to do is come down here to review 11/10/16, choose accept. It automatically replaces, and here's the archive. It archives your old SDS for your 30-year cradle to grave information. Basically keeps it and replaces it with the newest one out there. In some cases, it may not change. You review it and it's pending. You can just discard it, or you can accept it. So those are the different ways there to help you manage, keep your SDSs current, and allowing the system basically to go through and do a lot of that legwork after you initially put in the work. If we do services, we actually get that link for you. So if you want to have us do your services the first time, we'll obviously establish that URL link if it's available, so that you can maintain it if you want to yourself from that point forward. All right, well, I think that's pretty much about it. What's next? If you're looking at this as a new customer, please, what I recommend is to download the free trial, get with a rep that you're assigned, and go through the demo more customized for you. What you saw here was a overview, but everyone's a little bit different, and so what we can do is actually tailor the walkthrough specifically for you. Go through, answer more of your questions, and take some time. It's a full working demo. You can install this, let your IT look at it if it's something you want to install locally, or have them look at the cloud specs if that's what you want to do. It's the real working environment, so you can actually enter some data, and if it works for you, you can actually keep that data if you purchase it. You can have that data to be off the ground. So use the demo, test it out, and if you like it, great. And if you don't, then it's no harm, no foul. It's not going to cost you a dime other than your time to check out SDS Pro as a tool. We have some webinars like this every month. For our current customers, we offer webinars that are particularly trained and tailored towards certain features and setups and stuff like that. So we just had one last week, and it was really good. And we usually, they usually last a little shorter, about 15 or 20 minutes for those current customers. My name here, let me just leave you with some information, is to contact me. If you don't have a person assigned to you yet, I can make that happen. My name is Mark Miller. I say an SDS specialist. I'm also the vice president here at SDSpro, and I will be able to, if I can't answer your question, I can certainly put you in touch with someone who can. My toll-free number is 888-673-7776, extension 209. And my direct line is 907-334-4209, and my email is mmiller@sdspro.com. And you can always go to our website, SDSpro.com, to check out our current product listings. And or if you're just looking for information about our product, you can go here, and I think I brought up our upcoming trade shows. So if you're in different locations or going to be at trade shows this summer, please check us out. Come by our booths. They're all listed here. We're going to be in Ohio, Anchorage, of course, Ontario for the PIP conference in Canada, and Seattle. Actually, that's not Seattle this year. That was last year. San Antonio, Houston, and the AIH is actually going to be in Philadelphia, so I got to get that corrected. So, but anyways, then we'll add a few more throughout the year. So please stop by and see us. If you're in that area or attending the show, we'll be happy to answer your questions and meet you personally. Until then, everyone have a great, super fantastic day, and look forward to meeting everyone virtually or at a trade show in the future. Take care. Bye-bye.